So if you're new to our YouTube channel, for the last 5.5 years, I owned the R35 Nissan GT-R. It was an absolute dream car to own. However, I sold it for one important reason: to buy my all-time childhood dream car, which is the Lamborghini Gallardo. So today I'm here at HBI Auto taking a look at this LP550 Gallardo because that's been on my radar for 20 years to make the purchase. However, I cannot ignore some fantastic competitors at the same price point. The McLaren 570S and the second-gen Audi R8 are also on the list, but Porsche has been kind of getting hotter on my radar since they are so incredible to drive. So today we are going to drive this LP550 alongside the 718 Cayman GT4 to see which car should I buy. But we're going to see, is the Gallardo the car that I still should buy versus maybe getting its competitor. Now, before this video goes any farther, one thing I want to mention: growing up, I was the kid that had the packed lunches, the off-brand clothing. I didn't have the video games or the cable TV or anything like that. I lived a very simple life. I had a few nice toys my parents bought me, but I took care of them and made them last a long time. And that translated really well into my 20s, where I still do the same thing. I still pack a lunch every day. I still cook all my own dinners and foods rather than eating out. This t-shirt was $1.40 on clearance. My shoes were 30 bucks from Costco. I've lived a simple life in my 20s, and now entering my 30s, it makes these cars a reality on a middle-class salary. So just keep that in mind. The decisions you're making are gonna make a huge impact 5, 10, 15 years from now. And it's all worth it to me. I love cars, and living below my means in my 20s has made this a reality. And honestly, I wouldn't change it for anything. So let's take a look real quick at the Lamborghini Gallardo. So this is an Italian supercar. This one's the 550-2, so it's rear-wheel drive. It's also going to feature a 5.2 liter naturally aspirated 10-cylinder engine. It cranks out about 550 horsepower, curb weight's around 3,000 pounds, and it can do 0 to 60 around 3.9 seconds. If you option it for the all-wheel drive model, that's gonna get closer to 3.5 seconds. Over on the 718 GT4 Cayman, this has a naturally aspirated 4-liter flat-six engine. It's rear-wheel drive, cranking out 414 horsepower, weighing in at 3,200 pounds, and it can do 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. Now for the transmissions, the Gallardo is gonna pack a single clutch E-gear 6-speed transmission versus the 7-speed dual clutch PDK from the Porsche. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and drive the Gallardo, see if it still is the car I've dreamt about, and then take the Porsche for a spin and see if it outweighs the Italian Bull. All right, so setting off now in the Gallardo. So being a single clutch transmission, every gear change there is that little forwards and back. It's an old school car. Now, when I'm replacing the GT-R, I'm not necessarily looking pound for pound to replace it, the speed, the technology, stuff like that. I'm looking for a new experience. I want something different. I loved my GT-R, loved everything I could do with it. However, I'm craving something that is different than what I had. And of course, being, the sentimental childhood dream car, this has a lot going for it. Now, we have a few different drive modes in this car. It is old school, so nothing too fancy. We have automatic right in the center, where you can go between automatic or manual, and then you can go to sport and Corsa. So that turned sport on, gets a little bit more aggressive just the way it drives. Nice quick gear change, you can still feel it. Going into Corsa, wow, the transmission is noticeably quicker. And honestly, this isn't that slow of a car. Obviously, I'm coming from a full bolt-on R35, not even in the same world as this, but this is quick enough. And like I said, I don't need it to be the fastest thing in the world. This car already, it does feel very homey. It feels something that I just fit in really nicely. I like the seating position. The way you look out the windshield, it's such a long windshield. Got some big bumps right there. We have a long windshield. All this glass around your side actually makes it easy to see around, even though the roofline is incredibly low. But it's actually a nice place to be in here. Wow. It definitely beats you up a little bit when you make those gear changes. Let's see if sport is a little bit different. But it's pretty darn quick. Wow. This is faster than I expected, honestly. Wow. Oh man, I've driven a few Gallardos. I've never driven one as a potential buyer. So this is a totally different experience, just being in this car like that. Let's go back to Corsa mode to see if I notice any differences. God, this is a nice place to be. You can tell it's stiff, super rigid, you feel every bump, but it weighs 3,000 pounds, so it's actually pretty nimble. It handles pretty nice. A little delay on the downshifting, but not too bad. Man, I can't stop smiling. I don't know if I like Corsa or Sport mode better. Gosh. Yeah, I like it. I do like it a lot, quite honestly. Now, if I go into automatic mode, the car is going to do its own thing. However, you can still be in sport mode, looks like in automatic. So now, automatic, normal mode. Just getting my bearings with the normal driving. I plan to drive this car. I'm looking to get a car that I can take on adventures, mountain road trips, road rallies. I'm going to use this car, not necessarily, you know, do all the mods and stuff like that. I'm not really looking for this car to fill that void. I have other cars for that. So I want something that is just something I can drive and have a total experience. That's what I'm looking for. I do like the view out. The seats are actually decently comfortable. You can tell you're kind of sitting on the floor. They're kind of like not well padded. They have enough padding, I guess, but not the most. But I do feel pretty comfortable in it, and it just seems to fit me. And it sounds so good with that naturally aspirated 10-cylinder. Wow. That transmission is way quicker in Corsa. Wow. And it does handle really well. It's so tight the way it feels. For being nearly a 20-year-old platform, it doesn't really feel like that. I was a little nervous coming into filming this car. They say, you know, don't meet your heroes. You know, you don't want to always buy maybe your dream car just in case it doesn't live up to what you expected. I'm liking it. Wow. It's a total experience. This is completely a unique new experience for sure. And a car that I can tone it down enough to drive around town, just kind of do stuff with. I mean, I can have a blast on a road rally in the mountains and then just drive it around and use it as my normal car. Wow. I really like it. I definitely like it. It is way faster than I expected. Wow. And I think this is the first time I've driven the rear-wheel drive version. I don't drive them enough back-to-back to really notice a difference, but I like the steering feel on this car. It feels super direct. So no complaints with that. And the E-Gear, I feel like people almost give this transmission too much crap for saying it's the worst transmission ever. The first gen E-Gear wasn't the best. You know, the clutches went out very quickly, just not the best shifting, stuff like that. The LP, they refined quite a lot to where it's a significantly better transmission. And this one's a 2014. This is the last year they made this car. I don't have an issue with it. It's decently smooth around town, smoother than my GT-R. You just gotta let the clutch engage kind of like you're in a manual. In automatic mode, it's definitely lazy the way it shifts, kind of sluggish. I'm curious though, as we're cruising in 4th gear at 40, if I do hit the gas, now 5th gear, let's see what happens. So, in automatic mode, it'll go 1 gear at a time. Definitely a sluggish car if you're gonna cruise in automatic. So, not the car to drive in automatic if you want to do anything fun. So it seems like you either are going to just drive this car relaxing, or if you're actually going to be getting in the car, go into all the fun modes, manual mode, Corsa, and now it's going to wake up to where the fun factor and the response is there. So I like it. I like it. Honestly, it seems to fit the bill, everything what I'm looking for. I'm glad, because I was a little nervous I wouldn't like the car. You know, when you drive a car that you can't buy, it's always easy to say how fun it is, how much you'd love to buy it. But when you're in the position to buy it, it's a whole different ballgame, putting my money where my mouth is. Do I still want to drop over 6 figures on a car if it doesn't live up to what I expected? But I am enjoying it. There's definitely that little delay first to second, which takes a little bit of getting used to. All right, there is the Gallardo. Let's hop in the Porsche. So now setting off in the GT4 Cayman, and like I said, about the same price, I can get the 991 GT3. So if I go Porsche, it would be a toss-up between a 718 GT4 or the 991 GT3. So with this car, you know, I just did a 10-hour road trip with my friends, previous generation Cayman GTS with a manual, and I had such a blast. So this is very familiar, even though this is the next generation, it feels very similar to what I'm kind of used to experiencing his car. This is definitely a nice, normal, comfortable car. We're in the basic drive modes, automatic. It really drives like your typical Volkswagen Group car, like any Audi or basic Porsche. Really nothing all too fancy about it right now. It is very comfortable. It has modern technology. These seats are definitely more comfortable, much more padded, things like that. In automatic, if I give it some gas, I mean, instantly downshifts and starts doing stuff. So there's definitely a level of refinement and modern taste to this car. We have drive modes too. The Gallardo is basically just transmission settings, but if we go to manual mode, sport PDK for the transmission, stiffer suspension, open up that exhaust valve. You can shift with the paddle shifters or use the shifter down here, which I kind of like that a lot. You don't even feel the gear change, like absolutely effortless gear changes. Let's see the power. Now this car weighs about 200 pounds more than the Gallardo. Nice and stiff on that suspension. And we're down a little bit of power, but it is faster 0 to 60 with the modern transmission. Wow. Definitely effortless power. Doesn't sound like the V10. Part of me is already thinking the GT3 would be more exciting. I feel like this doesn't have the same sound. It feels a lot deeper in tone than what I'm used to with some of the older engines. This has the 4-liter, which is the newer engine. Handling is insanely direct. Yeah, you don't feel those gear changes at all. It is lightning quick the way it works. And I like the cockpit feel. If we tone down the car a little bit, the cockpit feel in this car, you have such a huge windshield, great glass all around, really good visibility. And it just feels like a car that is definitely wrapped around you. It's a little bit better visibility, actually a lot better visibility than the Lambo. You can see those front fender arches very well. The spoiler kind of messes up your rear view just a tad. I think this one has an extension on it, so it would still be right in your way regardless. But this is a comfortable GT car. If you were just to rack up miles, do the long road trips that I'm talking about, this is very nice and comfortable with the cruise control. So it has the modern amenities that you're not going to get on the Gallardo. So that's something to take into consideration. When I drive this car, I'm going to be doing 300-mile trips in a day and things like that. So I'm going to be racking up miles. You know, we did 10 hours in one day on my friend's GTS with a manual, not even skipping a beat. It was super comfortable, easy to do that with. So all the fun modes again. I love all the clicky buttons of a Porsche. It just feels really good attention to detail in these cars. And you can spec them very nicely with leather. You can even get bucket seats, so that'd be something to consider if I went for one of the GT cars from Porsche. The brakes also really feel connected. This car really connects you to the road. Not to say the Gallardo didn't, but you can tell this has that modern connection. Very smooth power delivery as well. So if I do go Porsche, I definitely need to consider the 991 GT3. I've been in the 991.2, however, those are way out of my price range, so I can't talk about those cars. But this one and the 991 are around in the 120s to in the 130s. Gallardos are about in the 130s. So the GT3 is more directly competitive price for price for the Gallardo. This is a little bit cheaper. do like how both cars have a high revving engine. This goes to 8,000. The Gallardo redlined pretty high as well. Wow. So I'm learning a little bit more. This car starts to come alive when you get in the higher revs. This is almost like a track car that can also be a daily. So it's a really good blend of kind of the both worlds. This is really normal and basic to drive when you're low RPM cruising. When you start getting a little bit higher and more aggressive in the car, it starts to wake up and give me that thrill I'm looking for. So this car definitely has two personalities. The Gallardo is always pretty much you're on your toes. So this car, yeah, it starts coming alive once you get up there. It's a whole different animal. And it is incredibly darty, pinpointy, nimble, so just really, really fun and precise. That's something really cool. You don't have to muscle this car around. It kind of just does everything you want. Gosh. Yeah, there's a lot to offer from a Porsche. I think with these cars, the precision you get is just, you can't get that elsewhere. I've never had Porsche on my radar to purchase. And then 2 years ago, driving my first GT3, I drove a straight pipe one. I would absolutely straight pipe this engine. That's where it really comes alive. But driving probably 3 GT3s now, the GTS, and then now this one, there's a lot to offer for just a really good blend of normal driving and the fun factor. So I could totally see going for one of these, and you get all the modern technology and things like that. Let's do another one from low speeds. It's just really precise. You know, it's nice to be in a car that is all about the precision. Yeah, Porsche has precision for sure. So I'm gonna take another spin in the Gallardo. This is definitely a supercar that is always turned on. It never shuts off. It never stops being a wild car to drive. It definitely keeps you on your toes, and it just has that aspect of being an ultimate experience for sure. However, it lacks a lot of that precision that I loved in the Porsche. So just doing a little acceleration once again, I mean, you can just tell it is just a car that wants to go, wants to be driven, but this is a cool car to be in for sure. Just the way it is and everything, the view out, it is something else to be in this car. And I love the interior too. I feel like it's aged very well, over 20 years, which is super cool. Well, there we have it, driving my all-time childhood dream car now as a potential buyer alongside one of the best rivals. Comment below for those of you who do own a Gallardo or one of the Porsche GT cars, particularly a 718 GT4 or the 991 GT3. What do you guys think of those cars? And what is it really like owning this car? Coming from my GT-R, you know, I did all the maintenance myself, all the modifications. It was bulletproof reliable, drove that car to 50,000 miles, never had one single issue in 5.5 years. So I'm used to a car that I can work on, that's gonna not fail me, be reliable, but then also, of course, I'm looking for a fantastic experience, something that I can just drive and be driving something very unique. I love the precision, the comfort, all the luxury aspects of the Porsche, but the drama in the Lamborghini is certainly something amazing. You're sacrificing some of the modern stuff, but you're getting a wild experience, which I really like. I'll definitely have to drive the 991 GT3 to see if that gives you a little bit extra character than what I'm finding in the GT4. It might sacrifice a little bit of the luxury, but you know, I'm not really too into the luxury. I'm looking for an experience. So comment below, what do you guys think? Once again, big shout out and thank you to HBI Auto for providing these two amazing cars for today's video. Take a look at their website, link down below, and comment below which car should replace my GT-R. I'll see you all in the next video.